Good morning, Earl Skakel, a notorious night owl, coming at you at 11:02 a.m. in the Los Angeles time zone. Now, if you know Earl Skakel, you know Daddy don't get up till noon. But I thought, let me go on before the big roast in the Dabbleverse today of Pat Dixon and Barry Rubes. I don't want to take away one viewer, which is what I have right now from that greatness. So I thought I'd start talking about a little Pittsburgh Steeler football. As many of you know, I'm a lifelong Pittsburgh Steeler fan. And you might say, that looks a little bright. Let's do a little in-housekeeping. I have ADD, that's crooked. My dad was friends with Art Rooney, the original owner of the Pittsburgh Steelers. So every year, the Pittsburgh Steelers won a Super Bowl in the 70s. I would get a handwritten note from Art Rooney, Sr. I would get a game used Super Bowl ball autographed by the whole team. Now that's 9 Hall of Fame players of the 22 starters. Their salary cap today would be about $7 billion. And it's not like the other 13 guys were bad. So I would take these balls and I'd be so excited. Now, even though I come from a family of 5, I'm the baby. My brothers and sisters, we didn't really play a lot together. So we had a brick wall in our backyard that was perfect for playing catch by yourself. So I would throw these footballs against the brick wall, of course, rubbing off all the autographs. Back in the 70s, memorabilia wasn't really a thing. I mean, you would collect baseball cards and whatnot, but you wouldn't really think, hey, this ball's going to be worth $100,000 in a few years or whatever. So I don't have one of those balls today. I do have some nice autographed baseballs my dad got me. Still have those, and I think one is signed by Whitey Ford. I would never sell it because of what it means to me. But you know, if I would have kept those 4 footballs, kept them in pristine condition, I've been told that I mean, there's no way to prove they were played in the Super Bowl, but they were. Is Art Rooney gonna lie to me? Is Art Rooney gonna lie to Jim Skakel's son? I've been told those balls cumulatively would be worth about $500,000 together if they were like in mint condition, untouched, and put in one of those plastic football cases. So that's unfortunate. But you know what? You live and learn. Now, when someone gives me an autograph and I don't seek them out, people give them to me. I make sure it is well preserved. And all of my memorabilia, which is in the upstairs future podcast center. Oh, shit. Carlos Danger. You better, Carlos. Carlos Danger, host of the Insufferable Bastards podcast. I am humbled and honored, Mr. Danger. And yes, you should go into hiding. As you know, I'm not really in the Dabbleverse. Sorry, I'm rubbing my eyes. I'm literally not up at this hour functioning. Um, and I've been requested by the fans to do a live viewing of the movie Predator. I don't mean the Harvey Weinstein story. Hello. But I don't know how fun that would be to see me watching TV. I mean, but that's the crazy thing about this world is I had a friend of mine. She's no longer with us, unfortunately. We lost her to depression. She would play video games on Twitch. She made 100 grand a year. Now she played in a bra, so and she had like some giant tits. So respectfully, um, I don't have giant tits yet, but what are you going to do? We might do a live viewing of Predator this week. Of course, I could do the blinds. I could turn the volume down and just maybe we do that. Maybe we turn the volume off and I just do a live read without any script because I've only seen the movie about 7,000 times and I know every line. He was still alive. Ask her what she said. Ask her what she said. Que pasó, mujer? Que pasó? She says the same fucking thing. The jungle. It came alive and took him. Are you telling me Blaine and Hawkins were killed by a fucking lizard? That's just a little sample. Um, so that's what I love about Hollywood. You can literally take 7 guys who, I mean, let's be honest. When Carl Weather, the best actor, or I thought that said Mason Rudolph. I'm like, oh, thoughts on, yes, of course I'm talking about Predator. Thoughts on CM Punk's return to WWE. I mean, I got to be honest with you. I met him once. He was kind of a dick. Like we were both at, I don't think I'm doxing him by saying this, but we were both at Equinox in West Hollywood. Equinox, very high end gym. A lot of it's not a bodybuilding gym. It's like a rich person's gym, but a lot of wrestlers go there. Wrestlers either go to Gold's in Venice or Equinox in West Hollywood. And I've seen The Miz there. I've seen Ziggler there. His brother Ryan actually used to work there. Um, so what up, Michaela? What up? I'm not good looking right now, but yeah, it's not bad complexion for a 55-year-old man. Um, and I saw CM Punk there one night. We were the last two guys in the gym, and as we're walking out, I kind of tap him on the shoulder. I'm like, "Hey, man, you're the only reason I watch right now." And he just looks at me and goes, "Don't say that." Now, if someone came up to me wherever and said, "Hey, man, you're the only reason I watch comedy right now," that would make me fucking psyched. So, my thoughts on his return. I mean, here's my honest opinion. I thought his debut, or I guess re-debut, it's not a debut, but his return at Survivor Series, A plus. By all accounts, even the 4 guys in the ring, the main event, did not know that was going to happen. So A plus. I thought the speech on Raw, I give it a B minus. We all wanted a pipe bomb type speech, like MJF did. Uh, the one show I was at the Forum, maybe what was that, about a year and a half ago, and it just kind of fell flat for me. Um, Now in WWE, I think Punk will get in line a little more than he did in AEW. I know, William, this is a rare. I just thought I'd, see how the mornings go. I want to go on before Kevin, obviously. I mean, Kevin doesn't care if I take 8 people from his chat, but he might. So, uh, I think I waited till Shuli's stuff was done, and then there's a sweet spot. I think from 10 to 12, 10, 11 to 1. I don't think Chad's doing anything today. So, but I think CM Punk will get in line more in the WWE than AEW, where he was one of the big dogs. In WWE, he's not. I mean, there's just many people. who either have his juice or have more juice. Yeah, but I don't like to upset anyone. Like, I figure this is a good time to go on, just see what the numbers would be like for a morning stream. Plus, I didn't miss last night, but I took a night off. So I like Kevin because he's authentic. Like, you might not like what he says, you might not like the constant anger, but that's who he is. So I like that. He's honest, whereas most people in this business are full of shit. Now, in terms of CM Punk and who they put him up against, it's like he won't be able to pull that shit he did in AEW. Well, I'm not going to wrestle if this guy's backstage. You know that if Vince McMahon was in charge of AEW, the main event for All in London would have been CM Punk against Omega, and it probably would have sold him a couple more pay-per-views. I mean, think about it. That's what I would have done. And then you could have the Bucks. I mean, I don't know who CM Punk's best friends are. I mean, in AEW, I'm going to assume it's FTR. So and the co-main events, FTR against the Bucks. That's how Vince McMahon would have done it. So I think seeing, he's burned a lot of bridges, man. Like I know, and I know it's the internet. I could be lying, but I'm not. I think you guys know I'm Kevin Brennan in that. I say what's in my heart. Um, you know, I know about 10 or so people in AEW, and I've asked them off the record, CM Punk, good guy or bad guy? And I'll just say this, not one person said good guy. And if you look at the people he's had problems with in AEW, Jack Perry, you ever heard a bad word about Jack Perry? I haven't. Kenny Omega, you ever heard a bad word about him? No. Now the Bucks, you've heard like they're a little cocky and they're a little power hungry. I'll assume they are a little bit because I've heard that from a few people. But you ever heard a bad thing about Cole Cabana? I haven't. And even Ryan Nemeth, like I know Ryan pretty good. He's a great guy. What up? Hello. What up, Sadist? So, that point of saying that is to me that kind of points the arrow that he's the problem, not the other guys. I mean, when you have 6 or 7 people you've never really heard of problems outside of the Bucks, and their only thing in common is one guy. But so I don't think he'll be able to pull that shit in WWE. Like, like there was that one collision where I think Ryan Nemeth had a match. He goes, I think, all the way. I don't know if it was in Chicago, but it was close. And I think they told Ryan Nemeth, "Hey, Punk doesn't want you here. You don't have to wrestle tonight." And WWE, Triple H would be like, "Ryan, you're wrestling. CM Punk, you're wrestling." So I think it's a little more. I mean, obviously, it's a 50-year company that they've got their policies and in-house rules. AEW's, literally only been around 5 years. I mean, CM Punk has definitely lasted long in the business, but I do think that the WWE has just run more with an iron fist, where Tony Khan lets the inmates run the asylum allegedly. So in WWE, it's like when Eddie Albert was walking uh, in the yard with Burt Reynolds and Captain Canower in the original Longest Yard, and he's like, "To get along, you go along," and that's how it is in the WWE. Uh, that's how. I mean, Kevin does like he sees a slightly, and I mean ever so slightly younger version of him and me. Like I don't take any shit. I name names, which most people don't. But I don't name names for a reason. Like if I have a problem with you, I'll say your name. I'll say through my eyes what you did to me that was wrong. Sorry, they're doing roofing work or something next door. And I'll say the the side effects of what you did wrong to me. Well, all wrestlers are self-involved. I mean, you're in a business that is based on your physical look and your physical ability. So, um, but that's with stand-up too. Well, I mean, yeah, I put it this way: I've never heard a nice thing about Punk. Like, hey, he's a great guy. So, um, thought the door knocked. Um, I mean, he definitely draws money. I mean, I know. I'm sorry about the noise. You know this building. Now this person's done. Now this person started. I got to get out of this building. As long as you draw money, you'll always have a place. And comedy and wrestling and really any entertainment. Um, I mean, look at Mel Gibson after his racial tirade in Malibu. He still got work because people knew he drew money. Look at OJ. I mean, OJ killed fucking 2 people, allegedly, and someone gave him tickets to a Buffalo Bills game recently. Like, it's insane. I mean, look at Michael Jackson. I mean, let's be honest. We all know what was going on at the Neverland Ranch. It wasn't just playing video games. People love him still. If Michael Jackson were alive, he would be playing arenas. I mean, Jerry Sandusky's career, the only problem he had was he couldn't moonwalk. Um, I mean, it's not what it was because he was an action star, and like once the action stars, um, once the action stars get a little older, they're finished. With the exception of Stallone and the Expendables, because that's a good kind of a good reversal. Like, hey, here's a bunch of aging action stars. That's the whole point of the Expendables is that we're the old guys. Could Kiss Demon draw today? Probably not. Michael is innocent. Michael who? But you know what I'm saying. Uh, I mean, Brad, when you say he, I'm assuming you're talking about OJ or Michael Jackson or both. But I mean, let's be real. If like, I mean, when you look at the facts of the Michael Jackson stuff, here's an adult male in his 30s, shitty parents. It's crazy. Maybe this is why I shouldn't do morning streams. And, he's got boatloads of kids having sleepovers. Like, if you just took out Michael Jackson and said John Smith, truck driver, same circumstances, you'd be like, you got to get gassed. You're a fucking pedophile. Because the guy's one of the most famous people on the planet. He's just playing video games. Relax. Don't worry about the naked pictures of kids all throughout his house. That's just, shtick, you know. But that's America. You can literally get away with anything if you're a celebrity. I mean, look at Ron Jeremy. Now, I don't know if I would say he was a celebrity, but he was a well-known predator, constantly on the Sunset Strip, groping women and all kinds of shit. Look at Bill Cosby. I mean, one of the great comics of all time, and because he was a great comic, he was a serial alleged rapist. Who's Michael? Oh, I know. That's the worst part. I saw that documentary. Um, I mean, he's a deal celebrity, Ruth. I mean, he's a serial groper, and a lot of people are saying that he penetrated them, like sticking his fingers where he shouldn't. I want to be careful on YouTube. I don't want to get my channel striked. Uh, I mean, I don't think Jeremy was set up. Like, one person saying it, okay, maybe she's lying, trying to get some cash or whatever. But when you have like 30 accusers, that they ain't all lying. I mean, I don't know who wouldn't headline roast battle, but I've been told recently that I've been inducted into the roast battle Hall of Fame. So there, at least I got acknowledged finally on the show. But here's the funny thing: apparently, they just made up this Hall of Fame for roast battle, and I'm in it, but I can't go into the room on Tuesday nights because of Jeff. Um, yeah, I mean, well, I've told the story about my ex-girlfriend running around the LA comedy scene saying I threw her down a flight of stairs. And it's just like, so I'm very pro accuser. But after that, I was like, the accused should be heard too. Um, so, Dante, yes, Golden Artist Entertainment, nothing but the best client roster on earth. Um, well, I mean, I agree and I disagree. Like in my case, um, you know, my ex was very well liked in the comedy scene, and like a sweet girl on the surface and deep down, to be honest with you. But um, I don't even have a side of that story other than it didn't happen. So that's why I think. I mean, you could go into every category. Yes, there's accusers who make up stuff. There's accused who do stuff that they're accused of. So I think each case is a case by case um, situation where you look at like the Dalia stuff. There was receipts. It was hard to deny some of the stuff because the girls took screenshots. The older allegations. Like the Cosby stuff, the Steven Tyler stuff, who else? The Axl Rose was just accused. It's like it's he said, she said. So, well, I mean, I think Ron was well known to go to the Rainbow, and which is the restaurant right up the street from me, and he's pretty handsy. I mean, put it this way. I mean, one night me and Chandler were there, and it's just me and her, and I had to go to the bathroom, so I go up, and then I come back, and Ron Jeremy's like sitting next to her, creeping on her. I'm like, bro, that's my fiance. Get the fuck out of here. And he like had his arm around her and was like, "What? What? I mean, what? I mean, like, get out of town." But he was protected at the Rainbow, so you know, unbelievable. I don't know, Ruth, to be honest with you. I mean, a Jill Allen reference. Woo, man, you are definitely not Tom Cassidy because Tom would not know who Jill Allen is. Uh, uh, I mean, I can't say she's lying, Ruth. Um, in terms of my ex having mental illness, I mean, I don't want to say that just because then I look like I'm victim shaming or what. I think that in her particular case, she did have a pattern of with a lot of people from her past sexually. Once it was over, all of a sudden there was an accusation, and with me, there's I'm very well liked in the LA comedy scene. It's one of the few things I've done is I have very few enemies. I mean, really, even Jeff isn't an enemy. Like he can't say anything bad about me because he knows everything I've said is the truth. Uh, and so I think she misfired in telling people I hit her. I don't even know what she actually said. Um, And to be honest with you, I had enough people come up to me and say, "Hey, just so you know, your ex is saying this." I retained a lawyer, uh, and he's like the best libel slander lawyer in the city. But he was honest with me. He's like, "Bro, slander cases are the hardest in the world to prove because you have to prove exactly to the letter what they said. You have to prove who they said it to, and then you have to basically turn that person who she told into a witness for you against her, and most people aren't gonna do that. So, but no one believed her. Like, so um that's how I won in the end, I guess. Like, I mean, people will come up to me and go, "Hey, we just want your side before we make a final uh decision on who to believe." And my I didn't even have a story. I was like, didn't happen. No, that's my story. I'm not calling her a crazy bitch or anything. It's just that's my story. So, I don't know. Jeff Ross does more grooming than Supercuts. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm on a gag order. I can't. Oh no, Chris Mack. Uh, nah, I don't want to do that. I don't want to say her name. Like deep down, I did see the good side of her, but I don't know what would lead her to say that. I mean, that's pure evil, man. When you say that um, in this environment, like one tweet, you know, um, and you're done, whether it's true or not. Um, listen, but is it possible she was looking for money? I mean, I don't think so. I mean, because I would have fought it if it got to a legal situation. I would have fought it. I would have gone bankrupt. Now, if I did it, you know, now I sound like OJ. If I did it, um, I would have fessed up to it, and but I didn't. So, how come the Pat Patterson allegations rarely come up? I mean, that's a guy who's juiced in. I mean, for those of you who aren't wrestling fans, Pat Patterson is I believe, still a WWE executive, was accused by more than one person of having inappropriate relations with ring boys. Now, ring boys in the wrestling world set up the ring and, they hang out. Most want to become pro wrestlers. So there's a lot of power over them. And it's rumored that Pat, uh, was basically the Sandusky of the wrestling world. But that's, I did not, Peter. I don't even know what KBS apartment stairs it means, but I did not throw her down any stairs. Um, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I've actually reached out to her several times and just to say, hey, like, can we talk? Because, like, that's not right what you did. Um, and so, I've done everything I can do to make the situation right. Um, well, I mean, it was not fun to go through. I mean, even last year at the Christmas party at the Comedy Store, I had a, young what up, Spurge? What up? I had a young female comic come up to me and go, Earl, I always used to hate you." And I'm like, "Well, how could you hate me? We've never really talked before." Like, "Well, your ex told me, whatever she said, and then I got to know you, and then I got to know her, and I knew you didn't do it." But, like, so that's, like, last year, 2022, it's, like, 5 years after the breakup, so it's just like, oh, no, I did not. Uh, maybe he does. I mean, no one really knows what's behind that divider. Uh, well, I mean, I see what you're saying, William. I mean, um, I, if I fucked up the relationship, I always want to reach out and make it right. Uh, so we can be friends. Because it's LA comedy. I mean, most of my girlfriends have been comics, so you're going to run into them again at some point. So why have the nastiness between you? Now, I'm lucky. I'm certainly not a famous comic, but in the LA comedy scene, everyone loves me. So it's a little unfair to my exes because if they badmouth me, they're not gonna turn many people against me. I know, okay, women, uh, I miss the rosary beads in the background. Oh, yeah, no, those weren't rosary beads. That was, a Bobby Rock laminate pass. Um, it's nice to have some women in here. I mean, 15 people, it's pretty good for me. I mean, we're not getting Kevin Brennan or Shuley numbers, but, I've also only been streaming for, like, 6 weeks. So, uh, I will say my flagship stream will always be Sunday nights. That seems to be my most, popular, time. Well, the afternoons are best for streaming. He did Bobby, right? They're right over there. Um, but I'm not going to, interrupt Kevin. And like I said, Kevin's not gonna look at my stream and go, "He's taking 13 people from me." But, it's respect. He's had the 1 to 4 time slot forever, so I will honor that, and Shuli does the early mornings, and I'm not up in the early mornings, so I don't think that's, um, will be ever an issue. So that for me in the mornings and my time, I think Shuli shows in about 9 to 10 p.m. my time. Kevin doesn't go on until 1. If Chad's doing something, I won't do a stream just out of respect. So, I mean, but, at some point I gotta stream, so it's like, and Melton is more 4 in the morning to about 7 or 8 my time, so I did attend the store's 50th party. If so, who did I fanboy over? No one really, because it was the same group of people. Um, I mean, I believe Jim Carrey was there, but, he's always been nice to me. I don't even know if he knows my name, but he's always like, "Hey, bro." Excuse the errant period. All good. I know. Yes, always Dark Star, always. Um, it's all right. I don't know, Chris. You can be shoehorned by Kay anytime, but just make sure it's consensual. Sorry, my computer chair keeps going down. Um, I kind of look like Opie with this hat on. So yeah, the 50th was a fun. It was a very odd collection of comics. You had comics from like uh, 50 years ago, literally showing up. I mean, the Comedy Store's been around since '73, so you got a lot of comics from the early '70s there. I would have geeked out if Tim Thomerson was there because I'm a big fan of his, and I think people forget how big of a comic Tim Thomerson was in the '80s, late '70s, '80s. Just so you know how big Tim Thomerson is, like, I have my name on the wall at the Comedy Store, it's still kind of a big deal, but if you ever read the Comedy Store, you go in the original room, which is the smaller of the rooms downstairs. The smallest room is upstairs, the belly room, but, you have the main room, which seats about 400 people, and then you have the original room, which is about 250, and, in the original room, there's about 10 neon signs just like that. And it's like Dice Clay, Roseanne Barr, Gary Shandling, Jim Carrey, Sam Kinison, and, no racism in this chat, Chris, and Tim Thomerson. So Tim Thomerson was on their level, and then he kinda got into the acting thing, and then, I haven't seen him in anything since, I think, Uncle Buck, and I think, he just kinda retired, and I think he lives in La Jolla now, so, maybe I'll reach out to him and get him on the podcast. Which room did your deleted video get filmed in? The main room. It was a Saturday night late set, and, I'm getting a lot of people asking me where they can see that set. Unfortunately, the only place I can show it now is on Patreon, and that's not like a scam for me to get money out of you guys. It's just I can't put it up on YouTube again, so I'll get in trouble. And then I had a friend of mine last night go, "Well, just chop it up into 3-minute sets and put it in order, like one a day." I probably could do that, but um, I'm not gonna get in trouble again. Uh, I mean, I literally was welling up, having to hit delete because for whatever reason, that video didn't get like a thousands of likes, but it cracked the stand-up algorithm on YouTube, which is gigantic for someone like me trying to build a streaming and a following on here. And oh man, that still stings. All right. Wow, out of those four, I don't think it would be Eddie Griffin. I mean, Mencia maybe if Rogan's not there. I don't recall ever seeing Ari Spears there, and Caparulo's like just stuck in Vegas. But there's a new booker there who's not really down with that cast of characters. I mean, I don't want to speak for her, but oh boy, if you put a gun to my head, Peter, and said you have to pick one, I guess I would say Caparulo, but that would be a tough. It's just a whole new era of comics up there. Like I'm one of the few she uses from my era. Um, it's and you can tell the next wave of people getting past there. It's all younger comics, which I get. And a lot of them are female, which I get. So to be an older white guy and still get spots there, I'm pretty lucky, to be honest. Um, I know he never really got Chris. He never really did the store. I don't even think he's passed there, which sounds crazy to some people. Like, wait, I mean, Dane Cook isn't passed at the Comedy Store. Matt Rife isn't passed at the Comedy Store. Now, Matt probably will be passed sometime soon, just because he's so popular. But that's one of the great things of the Comedy Stores. They don't necessarily pass you just because you're popular. The booker has to think you're funny. And so, like the Laugh Factory, they'll pass anyone who has a following. That's not a knock on them, it's just they do it differently. Like if I never get spots at the Laugh Factory, but if I had a million followers, I'd be there twice a week. That's just how they do it. Like Jeremy Piven's not passed at the Comedy Store and never will be, but at the Laugh Factory, he goes up twice a week just because he's a famous actor. Um, well, the gossip was Eddie Griffin was banned. Whoa, whoa, whoa! Let me. Sorry, my TV. I still haven't figured out how to rig the TV so it just doesn't come on randomly. Um, Eddie Griffin was banned for calling Mitzi a cunt. Mencia he wasn't really banned, but when the club started their renaissance about 2013, and Rogan was a huge part of that because Tommy, the talent coordinator, got fired, and then Rogan came back, Joey Diaz came back, Theo came back, Sebastian came back. Um, I don't think Mencia was welcomed. He wasn't banned, but and at his, he's famous, though whether you like him or not, whether you believe he steals jokes, he does. And I still believe he does it. He's probably doesn't have the energy to deal with the negativity. Um, yeah, I mean, basically, Mencia was shamed out, and then Caparulo moved to Vegas. I mean, Tommy, the old booker, gave him 2 spots a night, so he would get a half-hour spot. Like what was it? My last spot at the store was in the original room. It was a 15-minute spot. He would get 2 15-minute spots back to back. And so he wasn't very well liked by comics because that's one spot that doesn't go to someone else. I mean, it's his club, Peter. He who has the gold makes the rules. Um, I think Tommy was a good bullshitter. I mean, if you've listened to episodes 93 and 5 of the Inappropriate Earl podcast, and you guys know me, I don't really plug that very often. Uh, Tommy was a great bullshitter when he had to be. So I think, well, I mean, the building likes me. It's all black. I don't like it though. At least the names are white. Hello. Um, so I don't. I don't necessarily blame Pauly. You got to understand that Pauly still acts in movies and um, TV shows and specials and one man shows. So Tommy probably took advantage of the fact that the other brother lives somewhere else, and the other brother lives, I believe, out of state as well. So it was like the best of both worlds. They probably just called Tommy and he lied to them, and you know, but once they got roast battle is as bad as I talk about how I was not the show is, but how I was treated on it. Roast battle is really what started the renaissance at the store. Because then Tommy got fired, and then Rogan came back. So you had Rogan back. You had finally a popular show on a non-popular night, and then it just took off from there. Um, oh, okay, yeah. I mean, I think he performs literally nightly at Wise Guys in Vegas. Um, I think we did one show together at the Hermosa Magic Club. I mean, he was a nice dude. I mean, he had a nice run as he was the new impression guy after who was the guy that did impressions for the Madden impression? I'm drawing a blank on his name, but then Caparulo came in at Frank Caliendo. Um, and then I think Caparulo got some of his gigs. Uh, yeah, yeah, thank you, Spurg. Well, I mean, Vegas is it's a great place for comics to go and start a residency if you're a big enough name. A lot of people make fun of Carrot Top, but he kills it. You know how much money Carrot Top makes a month in Vegas? Probably a few million, and I'm not kidding. At least a million. Dice goes there a lot. Paulie lives there. I don't think Caparillo has a residency at Wise Guys. He's just, I don't know, lives there. Um, Brad Garrett, he has a great. That's the best comedy club in Vegas. Brad Garrett's like just the way he treats the comics. He's very hands-on, and the staff there is amazing. And I've never even played there, but a lot of my friends have. And Kimmel's, I hear, is not the best laid out room. Um, and the Comedy Cellar, I think the Comedy Cellar started off really good, flying in big New York comics, but now it's you know, from what I understand, not that good. Um, yeah, yeah. I mean, Cap, he had a nice run. Um, Chelsea lately was like the new Tonight Show. Like that's the spot you wanted if you were a comic. Uh, yeah, I mean, I've heard Kimmel is just the ceilings are big, and like there's something like if you have to use the bathroom, you have to go out in the lobby or something. Like there's no bathroom in the club. Um, Prop comedy is a skill, man. I'm not good enough to do it. Like I think I don't know if he's the original prop comic, but if you've ever seen the movie Scarface, Comedy Store paid regular Angel Salazar, who played Chi-Chi. There's Stephen Bauer and then Chi-Chi. Uh, he was a very, very funny prop comic. I would not be surprised was an influence on Carrot Top. Um, and the funny thing is, Stephen Bauer from Scarface frequently comes to the Comedy Store, and everyone loves him. They like, "Hey, can we take a picture? Can you do the tongue thing?" And he does it. And one night, Angel Salazar was there, and Stephen Bauer was there, and like everyone wanted their picture with both of them. The crazy thing is, one night Stephen Bauer shows up with this Al Pacino impersonator, and the kid looked just like him. I mean, like a young Al Pacino. And so Don Barris brought the kid had Pacino down. And then like 2 days later, he killed his family. Like it was crazy. He's in jail now and he ain't getting out. Um, yeah, I mean, I wasn't really around for that, Peter. But he was protected by Tommy, and I'm sure a guy like Joey Diaz is like, fuck this guy. And I don't know what Bobby Lee, he's a big deal at the store, so I could what up, Alex Watts? But I mean, there's skill in prop comedy. I mean, it's not for me, but uh, Yeah, Angel Salazar is, he was pretty he was a big he's like Tim Thomerson, he was a big deal in the early '80s, like, especially, like, he did the Scarface in '83, The Wildlife, which was a bomb, but it was still a pretty big movie when it was released, and then it just didn't it bombed. And then, in the mid '80s, he was one of the more popular comics at the Vegas Comedy Store and the Hollywood Store. So, oh, I love Scarface. My favorite, actor in Scarface is Sosa, the great Paul Shinar, who sadly died of AIDS, I think a little bit after he was in Raw Deal with Schwarzenegger. I think he died of AIDS in, like, '87 or '88. Raw Deal, uh, was 8 no, he died in '89, Raw Deal was in '86, so, he was a great bad guy. Yeah, I mean, so Angel Salazar had a really nice run from, like, say, '83 to, like, whenever Punchline was on and, top touring comic. He was probably the number 1 prop comic before Carrot Top came, um, but then he just kinda I mean, he still does comedy, but it just you gotta really, when you're on top, take advantage of every moment because there's always someone coming up from behind. Um, like 20 years ago, it was Dane Cook, 10 years ago, it's Chris D'Elia, now it's Matt Rife, and in 10 years, it'll be someone else. So, I'm not a huge De Palma guy. I mean, I guess my favorite Brian De Palma, was it Dressed to Kill with Angie Dickinson? Just that opening shower scene where she's, like, soaking up, um, I think it was the first movie I ever beat off to be honest with you. What comics do you remember from both of your open mic scenes? I mean, well, I didn't do the store that much in the beginning because it was too much for me, but I remember, obviously Gaylord Dingler from the store. Scott Barron was the first person I ever saw on stage at the store. Um, Brody Stevens, I did a lot of rooms with. He wasn't an open mic comic, but he would do open mics. Jim Painter, um, Andrew Solomson, Brian Irwin, Paul Hughes, Mike Taylor, who used to run the what was it called? Some shitty bar gig on Melrose by Gold's Gym in Hollywood. He kind of disappeared. John Little, obviously, Eric Marino, Christy Miller. I mean, thousands of names. I have not seen the new Albert Brooks documentary, and I am a fan, but I don't. I'm not like a super fan. I respect him, um, but he was a little before my time. Like the first group of comics I really like Foster Brooks, Don Rickles. Um, I mean, they were from the Albert Brooks era, but they were on TV more just because of the roast. Um, like Don Rickles roasting, or Foster. My favorite two. I have two favorite roast sets. Don Rickles, no Foster Brooks roasting Don Rickles. It's a 5 minute. It's like a 5 minute master class in how to roast. Now he's doing it in character, so I don't know if I would recommend an aspiring roast comic. Hey, this is how you roast. But and then this is going to be a weird one for a lot of people. Tex Cobb roasting Larry Holmes. I mean, Tex Cobb, the boxer, went into a big and all black room and dropped a hard N bomb. Because it was I forget the joke, but he was saying how Larry Holmes thinks all white people look alike, so he's just another to Larry Holmes. And this is an all black room for the most part. And the room blew up with laughter. Even Larry Holmes laughed. I don't remember the first time I met him, but I do remember it was probably at the Hot Wired Cafe in Valley Village. They had 2 open mics, Friday and Sunday nights, and, like, I was one of the funnier ones back then just because I was so stupid, and Natasha Leggero would follow me around. because she not because not she wasn't physically attracted to me, but like that shows you how smart she was. Like even back then, she was like, okay, this guy's funny. He might be going places. He's one to talk to. Whitney was the same way with me, and then they just elevated above me. I didn't really network back then. I probably should have, but you don't know what you don't know. Um, yes, text guy. If you look up on YouTube, well, we're on YouTube right now. Um, uh, Look up Tex Cobb roast Larry Holmes. Because if you just put in Tex Cobb Larry Holmes, I think just the fight will show up. But it is a brilliant roast. Um, he's probably Emo Phillips. That might, he does that character kinda like Foster Brooks, so that might work. But I could see it getting very old very fast. Jason Glenn, one of my good friends. Daddy Man should be a Palmer. I'd be having a lot more people than 13 in the stream, but I appreciate everyone here. New here through Shuley Network. Larry said, follow this guy. Is that blue behind you? No, that's my cartoon character. If you're new to the Earl Skakel world, I was in a cartoon called The Jellies, where I played a blue jellyfish. And a friend of mine, Joe Urell, a roast battle comic, painted half my character, Barry Jelly, and the other half me. And I'm Earl. And that's Brother Love, the wrestler, right there. That's the Ultimate Warrior doll right there. And a Steve Stevens doll still in the box because Lois broke the first one. And that is a Rick Rude doll right there. Um, did you follow the Todd around? I don't know who the Todd is. Shuley stinks. Shuley's been good to me. So Vaping Dago, what up? What up? You're iconic in the Patrick Melton and Kevin Brennan world. Did Davey Wester follow you around? Well, he had cerebral palsy, so he didn't really follow anybody around. Um, yes, Peter is. Although I don't know who he is, he does set it up for me to talk. Thank you, Vaping Dago. I only know of you through Melton and Kevin Brennan, but you're a very good fan and a friend to them financially. Yeah, we worked on a cartoon together. I did the voice. I don't want to give it away, but it was a very funny. I'll just say this: I played like a Knight Rider type character. I was the voice of a vehicle, and Jason's one of the funniest people I know. He's another crazy part about this business. He does a set on, I think it was the Tonight Show, like Jay Leno Tonight Show. He killed, but the guest ran long, so they cut the set. They cut the stand-up out, but he still got a tape of it. But that's you're at the mercy of. I think it was. I don't know who the guest was, but yeah, I've got some Dabbleverse people in there. I know Spurg's in there, and we have how do you say that? Brishan. He's a Shuley fan. I take all fans. I don't. We're Dabbleverse light here. We don't really get into the drama because brush and roller. Sorry about that. I just woke up, to be honest with you. So I'm trying to do this stream before Kevin's roast starts. Brush and roller. Did you get the glasses idea from Slapshot? No, I need these. So like I can see like basic things, but if you said, "Can you read a chat?" I'd have to do the Mike Machete and like put my face right up against the screen. Perfect vision in this eye, not so much in this eye. It's astigmatism, and yes, I'm aware that you can get LASIK surgery, uh, but I like my glasses. I know it's a pain in the ass because of the reflection, but I don't mind my glasses. I really like them. I'm going for that Buddy Holly, Elvis Costello, Hanson brother. I'm the lost Hanson brother, Bezo. Man, that name's drawing a bell, but I don't remember Bezo. Maybe we did a show at, that open mic on Washington Boulevard. Yeah, I just like my glasses, and then read another chapter. It takes forever for me to finish. Like, this is the last book I read. It's from my NHL, Aaron Volpatty. He, suffered a tragic burn and, all over his body. He was told he'd never play hockey again, and he got to the NHL. And so you can see the print in this book. It's not gigantic, but it's not huge. So I really struggle. Like, I have a lamp right here that I have to put the book right up against. So I think Barry Ribs pulls the upset today. I don't know anything about Pat Gibson, Pat Dixon's comedy. So I get a sense he's very dry and sarcastic. I think Ribs will try and steamroll him. Um, I think Barry Ribs is ironically funny. Like, he doesn't make me laugh, but just the fact that he thinks so highly of himself is funny to me. So I mean, if you're asking me to pick a winner now, I mean, I'm going to say Pat Dixon. Uh, Nipple snacks is Bezo. I don't know what that means, to be honest with you. I mean, no, I mean, my friends who do LASIK surgery, every single person said they love it. Have you attached yourself to the Slapshot reboot? I haven't watched anything. Um, I mean, Slapshot 2 was pretty fucking brutal. Ryan O'Neill and the Danish. Choppy internet, Earl. Well, let me see if I can fix that. I mean, my internet is at its peak, so unfortunately, until I move, this is the best I can do. So sorry about that. Uh, I mean, listen, in roast battle, anyone can lose, anyone can win. I mean, my record in roast battle was 9-3-1. All three times I lost were to women. So, and the first one who beat me, my girlfriend at the time, she had never done roast battle before, had no roasting background. But, that I can beat Jimmy Carr, but I can't beat a girl who's never done it before. Like, it doesn't make sense. But oh yeah, I mean, he probably vaping. I mean, Harry, but usually the better comic loses because roast battle isn't about who's funniest. It's about and I could see Barry winning because he's crazy and he's not gonna anything Pat says isn't gonna really affect Barry, which is almost the toughest battle to do. Like, how do you battle crazy? So, yeah, I mean, I could tell Pat's funny. Um, yeah, I mean, I don't like how Bichetti voted for Chad. Just I feel bad for him because Ray took the time to write jokes or either memorize the jokes people wrote for him. That it is a lot of work. Now, a Zoom roast battle is a lot easier because you could have your jokes off the computer screen and go, okay. Like I would never do a Zoom roast battle. You want to roast battle me, and I'm never going to roast battle again. But you know, I'm not going to help anything with Jeff Ross's name attached to it because that's just helping him out. Even if he's not involved in judging, it's still carrying on the show for him to do next week. What do I get out of it? Not a fucking dollar. Um, in the 5 years I worked on the local show for roast battle that was sold out every week, I got $200. $200. And people say, "Well, you got paid a lot on the TV show," because I kept winning against people they wanted to see kill me. But, that's the life of Jeff Ross. "You feel me" is not a catchphrase, but it is though, because you just said it. Well, I mean, I think you have to like, for me, the best part about a roast battle is the live spontaneity of, you know hearing someone like, I knew that most every joke to me is gonna be, "Earl, you're so old, blah, 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 blah." Like, I was battling a fat dude once, and, he was all his jokes were just hacky old jokes, like, "Earl, you're so old, blah, blah, blah. You were around for the crucifixion." I'm like, "Bro, you're fucking 100 pounds overweight. I can hear you dying right now. I'm going to outlive you, bitch. I don't know what's working harder on you, your arteries or the buttons on your shirt." 'Cause the good roast battlers can turn their weakness into a strength. Like, my age in the roast battle world is a weakness, but unless I'm battling Matt Broussard, I'm gonna look or Matt Rife, I'm gonna look better than anyone on that stage, so call me old bitch. Well, I stole "Hello," to be honest with you, Jerry Lewis. It just made Jerry Lewis made me laugh when he was like, "Hello, lady." So it's just a tribute to Jerry Lewis. See, I'm honest, because most of you guys in chat, I'm assuming, are younger, so you might not even have ever heard of Jerry Lewis. So you certainly didn't know his catchphrase. Okay, but remember when he used to do that? Like he'd do a line and be like, "Hello, lady." Um, so yeah, I've got charisma. If you watch the very last episode of I'm Dying Up Here when we're having the meeting about striking and Goldie walks in, you can catch me doing ma 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 ma. It's really funny. They left it in. I mean, Jerry Lewis was funny in that time frame. I mean, he was a generational funny. Like I don't think kids today would yeah, I mean, Jerry Lewis, it's a tribute. But see, I'm honest. I tell people, like podcast people who listen to the Dabbleverse, I mean, I would say every host in the Dabbleverse obviously knows Jerry Lewis, but like the younger people who are into the Dabble world, they probably don't know Jerry Lewis's catchphrase was "Hello." I should have a shirt that says that. Like Chad's shirt that says Zumach Mania. If I had one that said "Hello," um, yeah, top of the world, ma. What's that from? I'm Spurg. I'm missing that reference. But I've also only been up for an hour. We got 55 minutes till the roast, so I don't want to go too long. I don't want to interrupt anything. Uh, I don't know if there's a pre. Now we got people doing Cobra lines. Oh, White Heat. Sorry, I thought Top of the World was some David Lee Roth video. Um, I mean, I don't think there's very few people who could follow Holtzman. Like, it's just one, he's like a hurricane, man. He takes the stage and, um, like I had to follow Joey Diaz once because Joey Diaz was on, in the middle of the lineup, but, like, for whatever reason that night, none of the people following him were there, so they were like, "Hey, Earl, you gotta go next." Now, I was supposed to go on, like, 2 hours later, but for whatever reason, I got there early, and I never get there early for my set. Um, uh, but, uh, so I had to follow Joey Diaz, and it was tough, but, I did good, like, I survived, and I've had to follow Holtzman once, it ain't easy. I had to follow Holtzman in the OR, packed room, for whatever reason, he went on early. I think sometimes Adam liked to do that, like, just to see how the crowd would react, and then for whatever reason, he put me on after him, because I think Adam trusted that I could handle it, and it's tough, man. There's definitely if the first few minutes are an energy changer. Like, you gotta like, the temperature of the room is hot. Um, I mean, Brody, same thing. I never had to follow Brody just because he always went on last, but, he, I get the Brody spot a lot. They call it the Kennison spot, then it was the Brody spot, then it was the Holson spot, and I don't think they call it the Earl spot, but, like, It's an honor to get that spot. I mean, but that's how I was, Bauer, when I was, young, and my parents would tell me about Elvis, who, ironically enough, Elvis was our neighbor. I think the last house he lived in was right below us in Bel Air. But my mom would be like, no, this is at the height of the MTV thing. My mom would be like, "Earl, you've got to see Elvis. He was so wild on camera, they wouldn't show below his waist because of his crotch moving." I'm like, "Mom, I just saw Tawny Katane do the splits on 2 Jaguars. Like, Elvis didn't do that." But looking back, I see how smart my mom was. I mean, Elvis was, just you're young and like, I don't need to know about fucking Elvis." Um, I'm catching every third word. I'm sorry, Ambrose. That's all I can do. Like, I'm at my, I mean, I'll try this better. Unfortunately, Ambrose, I don't have great internet, to be frank. A green one. No, it was 2 white Jaguars. Um, I'm back. I'm back. Yeah, unfortunately, I'm just in a dead spot in the West Hollywood area. There's really nothing I can do. But I appreciate you guys sticking with me, and I switched over to my phone's hotspot. That might be a little better. Um, but it just, I don't know, sucks. But that's why I can't wait to move and get better internet. Um, because I'm with Time, no, AT&T, yeah, Time Warner, and it just sucks. I got someone calling me right now. This is a telemarketer. You want to see how I deal with a telemarketer? Hello? Hello? Yeah. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, you're selling air conditioners? Can I ask you a question about the air conditioners? Um, if it's really hot out, will it warm up my balls? Suck it. I don't think they'll be calling me back. Earl, my phone is on black and white, but I swear one of these Jags isn't white. I'm telling you, they were both white Jaguars. Yeah, I still have a landline. And no, I won't show you my dick pic. I'll get kicked off. But I will show it to you if you're ever at the Comedy Store. But you have to ask to see it. It's a new era. It's not the era it used to be. Um, yeah, I mean, like, I didn't appreciate what my parents liked at the time. Like, they tried to get me into Chuck Berry and BB King, and I'm like, I'm gonna listen to Kiss and Rat and Poison and Cinderella and Dio and Quiet Riot. I'm gonna watch Miami Vice. Fuck, Leave It to Beaver. Um, I could actually use a new air conditioner, but those are about 10 grand. Bigger dong. Well, apparently Virgil has a 14-inch dick, so he's very proud of it. Uh, I mean, well, I can't pull it up right now because that's unprofessional, but I'll take your word for it. I miss Tawny very much. She was a great woman, and well, if you're in the LA area, I'll pay you, William, to do it. Because where I live, the AC is obviously on the roof. It's a two-story building, 3 if you count the garage. So you have to rent a crane, and you have to get permits from West Hollywood. So my plan is to sell my unit and let the new buyer. I mean, I'll be honest with them, say, hey, you probably need a new AC, but I ain't paying for it. Like, you like the house, fix it up yourself. I'll take a few bucks off the top so you can afford the AC, but like, I'm not directly. I mean, 10 grand. Like, I mean, so. Um, do you know what kind it is? Do I know what kind of my AC is, or the Jaguar? Oh, I don't know. It's just a basic AC. I mean, this building was built in the '70s, so I mean, I don't think that's possible, bro, for my building. Every person who's gotten a new AC recently has had to get a crane. It's a pain in the ass because you have to make sure the front of the building, there's no one parked there, and parking in my neighborhood's wackadoon. But I'm not getting a new AC. It's luckily for me, it's cold in this house anyway. The heater kills. Uh, dude, you can't get a new house. I mean, I could get 1.1 million for my condo. It's fully paid off, and two realtors have sent me houses. And what the first guy sent me houses literally in Compton. Now, I'm not knocking Compton, but I'm being serious when I say this. I have a bright red Jeep, and in Compton, what if I'm living on a Crip block, which is possible? And then yesterday, a second realtor sent me homes in Inglewood, which is by LAX. It's either every block is either Crip or Blood. Fuck that, man. I'll just stay here and deal with this building, which sucks. But you know, my home concerns. I don't want to bore you guys with that. I love you all. And the fact that we're talking about my air conditioning unit is probably a sign to cut the stream now. Oh, yeah, you mean the one where he's offering black people free rides to Africa and selling basketballs, but yet he was at Black Lives Matter meetings? Okay. Um, well, I mean, my brother, well, he's never owned a home. He just would rent. My brother was living in a trailer park in Malibu, but it was like the highest end trailer park you could fucking imagine. Um, but uh, he lives on the beach in Maui now in like a tent, and he's completely happy. But he's a big surfer, so like that's like me moving to Canada to play hockey. Is your bro neighbors with Holtzman? No, I don't think so. I don't think Holtzman lived in a trailer park in Malibu. I mean, it was like 3,500 a month. I don't think Holtzman. I just talked to Holtzman. He invited me to come to the mothership to play his show there, but you have to get like double approved by not just Adam but Rogan. Now Adam passed me, so I know Adam thinks I'm funny, but Rogan's never really seen me go up, so I would hope I would get approved. Um, I see. I don't know. I mean, I thought Holtzman lived in by the beach or something. Oh yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't like a lot of the people in Austin, to be honest. I didn't like hanging out with them here. I'm certainly not going to go on a plane for 3 hours to hang out with them there. It's just not my scene. I think Austin's for younger comics who, like Sam Hyde is doing a free show in San Antonio tomorrow night. I don't know who that is, to be honest with you, Chris, but he probably doesn't know who I am either. Oh, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know who he is. Or that could be a girl, Sam. But I hope to do Rogan one day myself because it would be a good interview. Because Joe's a great interviewer. Do I'm Jewish, but I was raised Catholic. Like my mother's last name is Weinman. And no, I'm not doxing her. She's been dead for 30 years. So, um, yeah, I mean, I don't know. San Antonio's not that close to Austin, though. So, yeah, I mean, well, not quite 20 years. I was an altar boy from about fourth grade till 2 years ago. Hello. I really was an altar boy because if you did the tough masses, like the 6 a.m. masses, and the funerals and the weddings, like for whatever reason, the altar boys, you didn't want to do those because they were so fucking long. But in the funerals and weddings, you got to see no one really realized this, but you got tipped big money. Like you'd get a minimum $100 tip. And like $100 to an eighth grader is pretty fucking dope. And weddings, funerals that you'd get tipped too. Like you don't understand, $100 to a 6th or 7th grader in 1979 or 80. Like, you could go to the movies, you could go to dinner, you could buy a Kiss record, and, like, it was awesome. Yeah, the priest would give you a tip of his ass. "Hello." I was never molested, you'd think I woulda. There was one weird priest. So if you did all the weird masses, like the tough masses, you got to go to Disneyland at the end of the year, and the priest would go with you, and one time, I was waiting for the teacup ride, and Father Preeb gave me a back rub. I'm like, "Get the fuck out of here." Um, so, alright, guys. Well, I want you guys to all prepare for the dabble world. Um, we had a good turnout. Earl Skakel, I don't know if I will be doing too many, morning streams, but, I liked it. If I could get up at 10, be functional at 11 so I don't, "Hello, teabag ride." Maybe I'll do more of these. I know Sunday nights will be my flagship stream, so you can all look forward to that. It will either start at 6 or 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Trying to take a page from Kevin Brennan, who starts every stream at 1 p.m. my time, Monday through Friday. Well, this is creepy. I remember I was such a good kid in grade school. They sent me to a seminary in the 8th grade because they thought I'd be a good priest. And they sent me to the San Fernando Mission. It was like probably 100 other kids from other schools. And I'll never forget, we were in bunk beds. Like, there's probably 50 bunk beds in this room, two kids to a bed. And I remember saying to the guy above me, like, "Where are the chicks in here, man?" I can't say the word. I said to him, "So you guys are Dabbleverse for fans in here." I said, "Man, there's going to be a lot of piazzas coming out of this weekend." Uh, I was never molested. My brother was molested by his teacher, but she had giant jugs. And I was supposed to get her after him. So the first day of school, I went, and she was blonde and giant jackhammers. And I opened up the living room door, which is where the tutor would always teach us. And there was some guy who looked like Gabe Kaplan. And I'm like, "Where's Amy? You should talk to your mom after." So the session was, fine. And then I ran upstairs to my mom, and I'm like, "Mom, where's Amy?" She said, "We had to let her go." I'm like, I'm a little kid, so I'm asking questions. Why? "Well, she inappropriately touched your brother." So I went to my brother's room. I'm like, "You couldn't have waited for 2 weeks?" Hello. That's a good joke to end on. It's a true story. Those are the best jokes. Earl Skakel, thank you. Patty, please. That she did. She's big, big, big cans. Who moved to Hollywood, William? Uh, Before I leave, hey, there's 20 people in here, 20 likes. I appreciate that. Beefers be beefing. They certainly do at Patty Please's house up on Malibu Canyon Road. She probably hasn't moved. She gets it. So I'll be at the Comedy Store this week. If you're in LA, let me know. I'll take care of it. Wednesday night, I'm going to the Echoplex to see Amber Wild. That is Paul Stanley's son's band. I saw them open up for Kiss, and they were quite good. Thank you, the mayor. I do my best. I'm a little late to the streaming game, but I'm trying to you know catch up. Appreciate the 20 people listening. Doesn't seem like a lot of people when you go on Kevin's in 40 minutes, and he's got close to 1,000. He probably will have over 1,000 people in chat today because of the roast. I will be in chat. I am not judging. I think I burned a lot of bridges with how I judged the last roast, but I still stand by my roast judging. Um, you know, I said Ray won the first round decisively. Chad made me laugh more in the second round, so I said he edged Ray, and then the third round, no one made me laugh. So I don't think I was, roast opinions. You listen. There's people who don't think I beat Jimmy Carr. There's people who think I killed him. I've had both. I've had people message me, go, "You know you didn't beat him, you pussy." And then I've had people who I don't know go, "You killed him." I don't think I killed him, but I think overall, I did pretty good. Yeah, I mean, Chad's funny. Some people don't think he is. Some people don't think I'm funny. It's just, um, comedy is subjective. I love Stephen Wright. If I showed Stephen Wright to a kid who thinks Matt Rife is funny, they probably would think Stephen Wright sucks. And if I showed someone who thinks Stephen Wright's funny, if I showed someone who thinks, you know, Carrot Top is funny, a video of like say George Carlin, they'd be like, "This old guy sucks." It's so. Um, I did Todd Barry's crowd work show. Um, at Clusterfest, and it was my last roast battle when I battled and lost to the great Robin Tran. But Comedy Central was like, "Hey, we want you to do roast battle." I'm like, "I don't want to do it. I'll only do it if I can do stand up spots on the festival." So I forced them to give me a stand up spot. That's when I knew me and Comedy Central weren't meant for each other. I had to force them to put me on by saying I'll do roast battle. Um, well, happy birthday, Nick. Give my love to Tracy. I know. I mean, I literally like, I've done a lot for this fucking network. I just want to do stand up at this point. So I battle Robin Tran, who's transgendered, and I just said fuck it. So I came out on stage in a dress, and my first joke. Now the festival was called Clusterfest, so my first joke was, "Hey, it's an honor to battle Robin Tran. I had no idea this festival was named after her pussy." Dead silence. 3,000 people. Dead silence. Then it was over. But I still took it to overtime. But uh, you know, and I love Robin. She's great. She's done my podcast. If you want to see two people who actually like each other, look up Inappropriate Earl with Robin Tran. Well, here's my final, and I want you guys to, I don't know, to go to the bathroom or whatever before the roast. Like to the people who say, like even Stevie Lou said, well, Earl voted for a tie because he wanted Chad to win. I could care less who wins a roast. I really could. I voted twice for a rapist in roast battle because they won the roast. That's how serious I take judging. I voted for a rapist. Um, And if you go back, and I know Melton watched the tapes over and over, and you can nitpick a battle if you look at it for 2 straight days. But I'm judging live. One time, I don't have a chance to replay the jokes. And to the people who still think that, one guy took the battle so seriously on Twitter. See ya, Bauer. One guy took my judging so seriously. He said, "I hope you die of bone cancer." Now, I've had a good friend of mine die of bone cancer, and if that guy saw what I saw the last 3 days of my friend's life, you wouldn't wish that on anyone. Here's how I voted. It's the last time I'll talk about this, and it's topical because of roast battle today, MLC, 1 p.m. I said the first round, Ray won decisively, so I don't see how I'm cucking for Chad. Second round, I said Ray had the best joke, the Sandusky joke, but I thought Chad was more consistent, and he made me laugh more. So I said he edged Ray. You can lose a round even if you have the best joke. People don't seem to understand that. And then in the third round, I don't think either one it was equally bad. So how am I cucking for Chad? It was a tie. And I was the only one that day who said, I'm going to need a one joke overtime, like they do in the NHL. It's a shootout. Now, some people don't like that. You decide a battle by a shootout, but that's how I voted. Um, yes, it was Fat James. Oh, it's all good. Thank you. Yeah, but I mean, that's the thing, vaping Dago. Like, I can't say you're wrong. Like, if you thought Ray won, I mean, it's roast battle judging is subjective. If you watch my battle with Jimmy Carr, I had one joke that didn't work, bombed. Jimmy was more consistent, but here's the thing: the judges took off major points for Jimmy reading his jokes, and I wasn't, because the one joke I had that bombed, it doesn't bomb if I could have read it, because I was nervous up there. I mean, it's fucking nerve-wracking battling Jimmy Carr on television. This ain't no Zoom battle. I got literally 1,000 people in front of me staring at me, and energy was great in the room. I don't know how many people were watching on TV. At least a couple 100,000, maybe 1,000,000. I mean, it's Comedy Central, so who knows? Uh, so if I could have just read my joke about Jimmy and just gone like that, it kills, because it's a great joke. My problem was I was so nervous I forgot the setup, so the punchline makes no sense. Um, so, well, I mean, because I take roasting seriously, I probably too seriously for my own good, but so I respect both Chad and Ray and Barry and Pat. It's hard doing a roast battle. It's hard writing jokes solely that are throwaway jokes on one person. Um, so I would never vote for a tie just to fuck around. Like Buschetti, it's Buschetti. So like, you know, uh, you know, it is what it is. But I mean, Chad in the second round made me laugh more. So, um, well, I assume roast battle's just easy because, like, here's my phone. If I'm doing a roast battle, say me and Peter Brennan are doing a roast battle. So here, I could just look at my jokes and go, Peter Brennan is, I don't know, blah, blah, blah. Now it's a different thing altogether. Me and Peter Brennan are 7 feet from each other because I'm not the funniest joke writer, never have been. I'm a performer, and the one true talent I have is I have a super quick mind. So if you call me old, I'm gonna have a rebuttal in 2 seconds, maybe less than that. But on Zoom, I can kinda take my time, I can look at you, and then say the line. But you can't do that in a live roast battle. You gotta fucking do it. I mean, an in-person roast battle. So, and I love Bichetti, but, it kinda sucked that I'm just gonna vote for Chad because I feel sorry for him. I would never do that. Oh, I'm just getting a message. Hold on, I'm getting from Kevin Brennan. You want to be a judge on our roast battle today? Um, of course. So, well, there you go. I'm judging the roast battle. So I'm gonna end just so I can give my voice a little rest and try and order Postmates. I love you all. Thank you very much for listening. A lot of people. I mean, 21 people for me is a lot. Um, and I will talk to you guys later. Earl Skakel. I'll see you in the MLC. See.